995 Liz ago. Storm Restoration Roofing, huge sponsor of the show. Greg's just such a good guy. He used to call here. We knew him as Greg from Pell City. People around town and around Alabama know him from calling into our radio shows. But for years, going on 30 full years, Greg's been an outstanding roofer and a roofer that can get your projects done. Now, nobody wants to think about having a roof job. You just don't. I get it. Greg gets it. It's not sexy, but you got to have a roof. And sometimes it's the force of nature that forces that decision when you get storm damage. By the way, we do have a potential for some strong weather through here on Friday evening, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. But if you do wind up in an emergency situation or it's just time because that roof's aged out and starting to leak, having chronic problems with it, this is the roofer you want up there on your house getting this done right. Not only is Greg going to do the installation correctly, because this is not some fly-by-night operation. This guy is a family, two-generation business roofer with his own sons and daughters helping him in the business every single day. So they're going to put their family reputation behind the project and get it done for you. In addition to that, because of their experience and longevity, they've worked with all the major roofers around all the major insurance companies around Alabama in both filing claims, getting those adjustments done, working with the adjusters, and making sure that your claim is proper and can be approved. They know what will be allowed, what won't, what needs to be documented. So let a pro help you with that process. That's a huge process. Then they've even got lenders that can come along and help you with those huge deductibles that some people have on their houses nowadays. Y'all at Storm Restoration Roofing, hang on because I'm going to give you a number. One other point to make about Greg's company is they're doing this low pressure roof cleaning nowadays, which people are finding makes their whole house look new. If you got a streaky looking roof with those streaks on the northern slopes of your house, it looks really bad. The house looks almost like it's condemned. We had this done a couple of years ago, and it just looks great. Looks like a brand new roof. Sometimes that's all you need is a good cleaning. They use solvents that are gentle on the ground, gentle on the materials, but get the job done. Talk to Greg and his team about that. 205-542-3531. I'll give it to you again. Jot this down. Again, just like other Douglas and Ox and the other advertisers here on the show, you want to put this somewhere in case you have an emergency and want to get to them. It's 205-542-3531, Storm Restoration Roofing. All right, I'm going to go back to the phones in a minute, but a quick headline. Apparently, Tim Walz is having an absolute meltdown today, defiantly saying he's not stepping down from office. AJ, let's play the second soundbite that I sent you. It's the longer one. I think the first one is a clip from the larger soundbite. He did some kind of media availability. Let me double check that. Oh, yeah, I got to hit the send button. I put it in a little box. I do that all the time when I'm in the middle of the show. As soon as you can turn that around, just give me the thumbs up in there. But Walz is taking some media questions and saying that over his dead body will he step down, because the calls for him to step down are crazy. But he's also saying the buck stops with me. I'm the governor. I'm responsible for this. He's trying to have it both ways. Somebody has called him and told him he's going to take the heat for this. The Democrat Party nationwide is trying to make this story go away. This is way bigger than Tim Walz. He's just the idiot that got him caught. Let me repeat that. This is the idiot that they would have made vice president that got him all busted, and now there are investigations going on all over this country, and I believe others in politics are going to get caught up in it. If nothing, they're going to be embarrassed by the incompetence, but some of them may be criminally culpable, and this guy looks guilty as hell. Let's listen to him spew his jive.
This is a decision that I make and make with my family, and certainly I think, as I said, it's the right decision. I'll note, I think it's appropriate we're here today. The war that's being waged against Minnesota, you're seeing it. We have a ridiculous surge of apparently 2,000 people not coordinating with us that are for a show of the cameras. I'm going to note to all of you, today is January 6th. There's no debate what happened. The President of the United States led an insurrection against a fair election to try and overturn that and, report both sides of this. Well, he said he really didn't, and courts convicted 400 of them, and he pardoned them. No, he did that. He did that, and that's today. And it's clear that we also saw today he implemented 5 states are being punished with a freezing of federal funds illegally that were appropriated by Congress, our tax dollars. And I find it interesting that Minnesota, California, Illinois, and New York we're taking that. The interesting thing is the biggest fraud trial in the country is taking place in Mississippi today with $100 million of welfare fraud. And I don't believe Mississippi was on that list. So look, this is a concerted effort to try and destroy the president's opponents, to destroy the rule of law. And it became apparent to me that he was going to do that with me being there. And I just feel, along with my family, that it's the best decision for Minnesota. And I feel very confident in that.
He's all over the place. Play that other one, AJ, the one I sent you before that. This is, I think, the dead body comment. This guy's saying that there's a war on Minnesota. There's no war with Minnesota. The people in Minnesota are being protected by the feds coming and getting to the bottom of this because their governor has failed them. They're upholding the rule of law. The law says you can't steal money. They're not violating the rule of law. And as for suspending these funds from these other states, that's exactly what you should do. If they're mishandling the money, you don't give them any more money until you sort that out. All right, let's hear that shorter soundbite and see what he said right there.
There's full accountability for everybody because buck stops with me. I'm accountable for this. And because of that accountability, I'm not running for office again.
Oh.
But I have a year to continue to improve on a record that I think will stand up against anybody's, a record that has made Minnesota better, a record that makes people want to come here, and a record that has respected not only the dignity of people, but the idea of rule of law.
It's amazing what politicians do. And again, Republicans do it too. But this guy, his ability to stand there and flat out, maybe he believes all that stuff, but it's fact challenged. Let's just talk for a second. He said the reason people want to come here. Minnesota only rivals California. California is the only state that has a worse problem with people fleeing the state. New York is starting to get into that category, but Minnesota has been, people are evacuating that state as fast as they can over a number of reasons, largely due to this guy's governorship. They do have some statistics they can cite about success they've had in some areas, but they are coasting off the success of previous generations in that state. It used to be a proper state. It was wealthy, educated, civil. It's descended into chaos, and that's why people are fleeing. And this guy is a miserable loser, and I love it. Here's the thing is, he thinks, and that's what he implied in that soundbite, is that by him just not running for re-election, that's enough. That's accountability. So how can he both be an effective governor with a record he'll put against anybody, yet not running again because of his failure here, because allegedly the buck stops with him, not running again is accountability. And those two can't live in the same world. Accountability is he steps down now. Accountability is he's probably got some chrome bracelets in the next few weeks if people find any communication where he knew about just the malfeasance alone. I don't know what particular federal law would apply, but if he was in coordination with these people, like Keith Ellison, who is documented and on the record as knowing about the fraud and either looking the other way or coordinating with it, or worse, my firm belief is somewhere down the road we're going to see some of these funds were funneled back to the politicians that were running cover for them. Why would they sit back and watch Somalians build billions of dollars out of their own state and send it back to their home country? It's an amazing story. All right, where are we at? Nikki has been holding the longest. What's up, Nikki?
Hi. I just wanted to say I'm so proud of AJ for not laughing at your corny jokes.
He laughs at all my corny jokes for years. He's been laughing at the worst jokes you ever heard for 16 years. And he does it out of courtesy.
No, but it's terrible. You need to stop.
What's so corny?
Like, it's very corny. And I'm proud of you, boy, AJ. Just for not laughing at this.
Well, tell me what he should not have what he should.
He didn't laugh.
Well, I know. What was my joke, though? I don't remember what I said.
A lot. Well, I listen to you almost every other day.
Well, thank you.
And yes, I do.
What do you do on the off days?
Your jokes are just so biased. And they're so
yes,
corny.
They're biased.
I just wanted to say I'm proud of AJ.
What joke, though?
I'm proud of you, AJ.
What joke?
Because his jokes are terrible.
I'll tell you a joke and see if I can make you laugh.
Would not even know you exist while you kissing up to him so much. He don't even know that you exist.
Who?
So stop. Stop being
what?
so biased.
No, I'm not going to be biased. This is an opinion show. My job is to be biased.
You are corny though. Stop.
I am
okay,
corny.
Well,
I know. I'm an old
stop
white
the
guy.
okay,
I'm
well,
corny as
just
hell.
stop the joke.
Hey, Nikki, I don't even just tell dad jokes. I tell granddad jokes. Now,
Stop the
I'm a
joke.
grandfather. I got 5 grandkids. I tell the granddad jokes are way worse.
I'm proud of you, AJ. Keep going, because it's terrible.
You ain't got to
It's
laugh.
terrible.
Hey, I hear you laughing there, Nikki.
No
You know it's funny.
disrespect, Leland. I think you have a dry sense of humor, but
I do. No,
you're
I got it.
joker.
It's a sarcastic sense of humor. Hey, I can make you. I bet I can make you laugh, Nikki. You want me to do it?
You have made me laugh.
You
Your
know, I'm
terrible
gonna make you
jokes,
laugh
your
right
corny,
now. I'm
your
gonna
corny
play
jokes.
you. I'm gonna
Stop
play
being
you
so
something.
biased.
Hang on, listen to me.
Stop being so biased.
I'm gonna
on
play
this
something
thing.
to you that you will laugh at. The audience is gonna laugh at. And
No,
there's-
I will laugh at you.
No,
yes, I
no,
would.
no. I
I've
want
been
you to hear
laughing
this.
at you. Yes.
I'm gonna make you laugh with me. Okay, we're all gonna get
No,
together.
I think I'm gonna laugh at you.
All right, here we're all
and
gonna
that's
get
all I
together.
wanted to say.
This is
You
my
have
little
a
grand. I
great
want you to
day.
listen to my little
And
grandbaby.
AJ,
No,
wait,
shut up for a second.
Don't laugh. He is so corny.
Nikki, do this with
Bye.
me. No, you can't just hang up.
What?
That's rude. Hey, are you there?
Okay, I won't.
Okay, listen to me now.
Yes, I
This is
am.
my little grandson. My son sent me this today. He's in his
I
little.
know, please
Listen.
don't take.
See here?
Do not
Hold on.
play me any corny.
No, I am.
terrible
Listen. Here,
stuff.
you got to shut
Biased
up so you
stuff.
can hear it. You got to shut
And
up.
that's one thing I
Shut
don't
up.
like. This
Shut
is
up.
so biased.
That's my little grandson today in his
Oh
crib.
my God.
Listen,
you
listen.
are corny.
My son sent me this. He's laying there.
Corny white man.
Yep. That's
What
my
was-
2-month-old grandson.
wow.
Yeah. I don't know what he ate. That's an actual video. Thank you, Nikki. Nick had to bring my race up. I think I brought my race up.
Oh man.
Jason's next. What's up, Jason?
Well, that was typical.
How you doing,
Happy
buddy?
Insurrection Day, Leland. How are you doing today?
You know what we can celebrate today? This is a day in history. In addition to Insurrection Day, this day 1 year ago, you ready for this? A lot of people don't realize this statistic today. This day 1 year ago, Kamala Harris made history by becoming the first black woman to certify her own defeat.
Oh, yes. It was a beautiful day. Hey, I got a quick question because I know you used to live in this realm. And what kicked it off was Walsh's comments a few minutes ago. How is it that Trump, he's already sued the BBC. How is it that there's not an army of lawyers going after every single one of these idiots that are saying that he's incited an insurrection? There have been no charges. It's flat out libel. Was it libel or slander? Whichever one's verb is. Well, it's actually both.
Yeah, it depends
Every
on if
post,
you print it or say
every other post, every other tweet, every other thing has been a politician or a liberal influencer making that comment all day today. Do Congress people and senators, do they share qualified immunity? And I mean, that's a serious question. I mean, I don't know if they do, but if not, why are these lawyers not just lining these lawsuits up to be filed?
because they're impossible to win. There's Trump would have to fund it. Who's going to pay for it?
You only have to win one.
Yeah,
You only have to bankrupt one of these assholes. Oh, sorry.
Oh, see, no, you can't say that. Sorry, Jason. Did you dump Jason? That's 2 in a row. What the hell happened to the show today, Edge? I was doing fine. So this is a risk you take with putting people on the air. Putting these. Let me try to see if I can straighten Jason out. First, public official. There is a different standard to give you a serious answer. There's a different standard for libel and slander with public officials. Okay. You can really say more about, especially people in elected office. It's different than if you attack a private citizen with a falsehood. The concept of insurrection, it has a legal definition, but it's also opinion-based, and it's in the eye of the beholder about what happened on January the 6th. So there's so much gray area there, you'd never be able to prosecute the case. What's different is, say, when George Stephanopoulos or whoever get on their airwaves and claim the president was convicted of rape. That is a statement of fact that's provably false, and that's why they had to pay up. When they materially contribute to Kamala Harris's campaign by editing a video to make her look better, that was a de facto in-kind campaign contribution, which is illegal, and they were behind the eight ball, so they settled. BBC did the same thing. They doctored video. They doctored Trump's speech from that day, and they won it. That's more overt than general claims of some talk show person. What I suggested a year or two ago, I wish somebody could comb the internet for all these blabbermouths that state as a statement of fact that they were saying, they'll say anything, by the way. Trump was a child rapist on Epstein Island. They would say that as if they had that. It's their desire and belief that they could prove that. It's not even close. There's never been a shred of evidence of any of that. And they just dumped all the Epstein files. Do you see how quick they quit talking about that when their folks got caught up in it? So, but they will state these facts, including this maniac woman that ran for Congress here in Alabama that's from up in Huntsville somewhere, who, by the way, she's been supersizing at McDonald's since she was apparently Miss America or something. But she stated that as a fact in some Facebook manic rant, probably freshly off spray painting a Tesla or something. And, but it was such a statement of fact. It occurred to me when I watched this video a while back. I think our buddy April Marie did a story on this in 1819. But I wish somebody would collect this evidence of these statements that are made that meet that standard and start going after people for doing this stuff. I don't believe in using the threat of prosecution as an intimidation tactic. The left was trying to do that to censor people in their opinions. I believe in freewheeling opinion. I mean, I do a talk show. Come on, man. This is what I do for a living. So I got to defend people being able to say some things. But the bottom line is, from a legal standard, it's completely different. With a public official, it's a difficult case to make. You're never going to win it. And lawyers don't like taking cases where they're not going to get paid, right? These contingency lawyers, they want a sure deal. They want to be able to go to somebody and shake them down, threaten to take them to court and get money out of them. That's how that whole industry works. So, and a lot of them don't want to go anywhere near Trump because he's politically unpopular in their community, at least for now, and they're afraid they won't get future business. They were actually a lot of corporate attorneys were being shaken down during that New York trial to not participate in the defense of Trump, and they were steering clear of him to look out for their own careers out of fear for what could happen to them. But once again, the joy of my day was getting a video of my little 2-month-old grandson laying in his little crib. He punked me, and yeah, just like his grandfather.
Did he do a raspberry, or that they come from the?
No, that's the real deal Holyfield. That came right out of the Man, he farts like a man already. He's only 2 months old. I'm proud of him. I think I'm going to cry. Back in a minute. All right, it's 327. Lead on Live Talk 995. Check this out. This story gets delicious at some point. Turns out after the banner, the misspelled banner, I thought I was done with laughing at this. You know, they can't top that. The stupidity and ignorance can't top that. But oh yeah, the ambassador to the UN from Somalia. Y'all don't wreck the car. The ambassador to the UN from the actual country. He goes to the UN in New York, is involved in a company in Cincinnati, apparently. We'll say allegedly at this point, that defrauded the government the same way. It has become systemically institutional with these third world people. They just are. It is a backward country. They have found a scheme. Even with their level of sophistication in their own country, they have outsmarted American politicians and stolen billions of dollars. And it goes all the way to their freaking ambassador to the UN. Somehow, this guy got a cut. So, you know, Tim Walz he's a shiny thing right now that people are paying attention to because, like, people in the Republican Party trying to keep score over him because he was the VP candidate and whatnot. But this thing is huge. And if it's that universal, it's almost like with this one country, you got to look at everywhere that they've settled in any association they have in any city anywhere in America, because they all are hanging out and talking to each other about how to pull this off. The smart ones probably just didn't try to do it in Minneapolis. They went to other cities like Cincinnati. Ohio is a big part of this too. You're going to see more and more of those stories as the week goes on. The freaking ambassador to the UN might be involved in this racket. All right, it's 3:34. Leland Live talking at M5. Michelson Laser Vision did my LASIK several years ago. I'm losing track. I think we're on going on 7 years now since I got LASIK. I'm still 2015. For a while, I was going for more regular checkups, and if I ever start having any issues, they'll come and take a look at me, and it's holding. I got friends that did it 15 years ago, and their eyesight's still the way it was when they got that correction. It really was life changing, and I'm so glad that I finally listened to the people that were encouraging me. And I'm telling you, without question, it's not even close. The only place I would send you to, not just because they are paying to be on the show and are a sponsor of the show, but because I really, really believe in the way they do things. And it's the Michelson family and that practice, the legendary pioneering practice for LASIK. It's michelsonlaservision.com. It really is life changing too. It's two components. One is you get all the pain in the butt stuff out of your life of dealing with your glasses and your contacts and solutions and taking them out and putting them in and worrying about losing one. I used to, every now and then I would be tired and I'd rub my eyes and I'd just lose a contact. It'd go up in my brain somewhere and I was trying to figure out how to get it out. You ever try to do that? You ever wear contacts?
No.
I had a trick where I would hold my eyelid and just kind of wait for it to sort of slide. My eye would feel like the Mojave Desert and just it would eventually start moving and I could see it and then I'd pull it out of there. It'd be all folded up. Why did I live that way for like 30 years? I hadn't had to fool with any of that since LASIK. So half the story is getting that out of your life. The other half is you just see better. You see better all the time. You open your eyes, you see better. It's you back to natural vision, and I love it. Get down there and get your appointment and see if it's right for you. That's the first thing. You got to rule it in or out. And they're so good. They're not going to sales pitch you, try to talk you into it. They've got a huge patient load and a legendary practice, but they're just there to treat you if you choose it, and they'll educate you on what it's about, both the pluses and the minuses, and let you make a good sound decision. It's a medical decision, and you should always do that. MichelsonLaserVision.com, MichelsonLaserVision.com. Man, it is a dreary day today. Mist, and they have improved, or I guess updated the forecast for us as we head toward the end of the week. We got a lot of rain coming Friday into Saturday, maybe 2.5 inches of rain in a short amount of time around Birmingham. And some of that could, around parts of Alabama, especially the northern half of Alabama, could get a little bit severe on Friday night. So just a heads up, if you got plans or travel plans in the new year, we're going to have to just keep a loose eye. It's not a F5 situation. It's not one of those kind of deals. But we do tend to get stronger weather this time of the year, right? Before the complete changeover into full-on winter. And this is, of course, because we're going to be 70 degrees tomorrow. We got a warm sector in here now. We got to shift back over to colder weather, more seasonable weather, and so the volatility may be there on Friday, just to know about that. Well, there were some – I was thinking about this if you put them all together. So a lot of things went away that were surprising to me here 6 days into the year. So we had the Maduro thing. That's just still the big talk. You had the Tim Walz thing. He stepped out of the race and is probably going to be leaving the governorship pretty soon. Quick turn of events on him. And then you had MTG yesterday. Marjorie Taylor Greene, apparently today she actually left the Capitol in her official capacity as they all gathered again for the last time. Today was her day. She picked January 6th. Anybody notice the irony of that? So there's a video of her getting on a freight elevator to get out of the building. Hallelujah. This woman turned, she like others, and I could sit here and probably give you a list. Some of y'all could think of names too, of people at one point you saw, well, maybe I should play with this for a minute. That at first I liked them, and then the spotlight ruined them. And I'll tell you, let me just try to do this from memory. One of the first people that did that, I saw turn into that, honestly, was Roy Moore. I went and covered him as a young reporter when he first put that plaque up. I liked him. I liked him a lot. I liked his stance. I liked his boldness. He seemed sincere. He had that military record. We hit it off. I did an interview with him, did a very favorable story for him. And I had no idea where he was going in his career. And I was all about him until at some point it turned into an absolute circus. And maybe it was that people around him just talked him into thinking that he had become some martyr. But the spotlight messed with that man, and it made him so he was just unelectable by the time he ran for Senate. Now, you could say he got smeared, and a lot of that's true. But I think it was something to do. You become detached and you start thinking you're more important or bigger than you are. You lose some humility with all those lights around you. And I've got background stories about where there were demands made for him to do certain TV interviews. You kind of turn into a diva. You know those Snickers commercials when they hadn't had a Snickers in a while,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
turn into a diva?
You seem kind of hungry.
So I watched that, and I tell you when I realized it. It was right after I was working down in Montgomery, and I had an office that was near the Supreme Court, and there was some big demonstration out on the steps of the Supreme Court, and he snuck that big giant granite Ten Commandments into the building in the dark of night because he had control of the court and was able to pull it off. And he did it, and he did it. It was very heavy. I think it weighed like 5,000 pounds, so they just couldn't easily move it. And that was cute. It was a stunt. And while he was right on the issue about the public display, stunts like that and poor legal arguments caused Alabama to continue to lose those cases. But then I remember walking from my office down. I wanted to watch the rally. There was some big nationally televised rally going on the steps over that granite monument that he put in there. And it was an absolute circus. There was the nuttiest people I've ever seen. And I've been to a lot of political gatherings. But anyway, so that's one example of somebody that I saw sort of evolve from becoming a celebrity in that world. I mentioned her yesterday. I think Sarah Palin turned into that. She was a breath of fresh air. McCain's candidacy was weak. He was always weak. This guy was all over the place. Wonderful background, incredible military story, but a terrible candidate. Just a mean old curmudgeon. He needed some sparks. He finds this eloquacious. In the day, she would be seen as attractive governor of Alaska that nobody had ever heard of. Similar to Tim Walz. Nobody knew who Tim Walz was, except for the riots. I mean, I guess he got on the national stage during the BLM stuff. But here comes Sarah Palin, and I remember her launch. I was working out, had a little home gym, and I was working out, watching the news. She pops on the scene, and I thought, that's going to give a shot to the ticket, and she did. She became a Tea Party rock star, and then she got more and more in the spotlights. She got more and more of these TV interviews, and by the end, she and her whole family were trying to do reality shows. Didn't they do a reality show for a while?
Did. Palin Knows Best.
Yeah, living out in Alaska and their dysfunctional stuff, and they were trying to cash in on the celebrity. And I guess maybe that's part of it. You see others that try to become celebrities, and nowadays with the advent of social media, you got the Nancy Maces of the world that'll just run around and be bombastic. Jasmine Crockett's the same way, say the most outrageous stuff, do the most outrageous things, get likes and follows and clicks, and then try to advance that. In the case of Mace and Crockett, who isn't she running for governor or something in Texas? She'll
Senate.
get destroyed. Yeah, that's right. She's trying to run for Senate. Mace is trying to run for governor in South Carolina. I'm not sure what her prospects are there, but they just do these stunts and cash in on the spotlight, try to get to the next level. Some just want to be TV stars, and some will move on and do that stuff. And it's where we live in. And you know what? I just had this conversation today. I sort of like the fact that I've got a boring congressman. Gary would take that as a compliment. Gary Palmer, as my congressman, he just does policy. He keeps his head down. Some people have beefs with him for a lot of things, and I get that. But he's astute on his knowledge and his homework. Last time I had him on the show, he comes in with all these papers. He keeps handing me policy papers. He keeps handing me talking points, things he's researched. Like I'm going to sit and read that live on the air. That's how he's always been. And I'd rather than be dull and effective. And some of the best things in Congress were done by people who weren't showboating all the time. And now we're living in a world where they're constantly showboating. But yeah, and I think Marjorie Taylor Greene goes right into that mold. She started believing her own hype, and then she got burned. Here's the story, if you believe some of the inner circle around Trump and others. She went to Trump to get an endorsement because I think she wanted to run for either governor. She wanted to run for a larger, or wanted to run against Ossoff, I think, in Georgia. She came from a little congressional district, got on the national stage, again, being crazy. And in some cases, I agreed with her. Started off going, okay, say it, girl. But then it was opportunistic, and then it seemed to be less than sincere. And we live in an age, if any of these politicians could learn anything, it's that you got to be authentically raw as you can. That means you gotta sometimes do things that aren't popular, that are just the right thing to do. And so she started doing things just for the value of the stunt, and it was for a purpose. And what was that? She wanted to run for larger office in Georgia. She went to Trump. wanted his support and endorsement. Trump team turned her down. Well, then she asked for an administration position they didn't have any room for, and you wouldn't want to put that in your tent anyway. You can't have somebody that's just Trump's got probably the smartest, most talented team I've ever seen in a White House my whole life. That goes back to even Reagan. And these people are amazing. They blow my mind. Rubio especially lately. But so there's no room for her in the administration, and he wouldn't back her larger run. She went sour and just flipped on Trump. Suddenly she's on The View. Because those hags will use anybody that's just a detractor to the Republicans. Suddenly she's a darling of the left. McCain did the same thing. All of these people will flip parties. Mitt Romney. I mean, look at Mitt Romney. He was the freaking nominee. Likeable enough. We interviewed him on the show a couple of times when he was running. Just kind of soft. Didn't have a killer instinct. And then what does he do? He flips and becomes a reliable swing vote, thorn in the side of any kind of real progress in that town. And it just happens to some people. Now, I don't know that with Romney it was any kind of opportunism. He was already independently wealthy. I haven't seen him go in his retirement and cash in on being the former nominee. He just went back to Utah. I don't know what he's doing back there now. He did go ahead and run for a lesser office after he failed at that.
Cheesy grits.
Eating some cheesy grits. AJ hadn't forgot him saying that. He was trying to suck up to us. This is how that story goes. I wish we had saved that clip. That was 200 years ago. Was it 2010 when he ran? When did he run?
Yeah, it was when it was Obama's second time.
That would have been 12. Mm-hmm. So in 12, when he's running against Obama, what a weak candidate he turned out to be. We had him on the show. He came through, and we had him on the show, and he was trying to act like he loved the South, and he was fishing for a stereotype. He goes, well, I love – we were asking him some just basic questions, not just policy stuff. And I forgot what I asked him, but he goes, well, I love me some cheesy grits.
Yeah, he named some like cereals, and then he also did cheesy grits, but the cereals were like the most bland,
I think
flavorless.
I said, what'd you have for breakfast this morning?
Yeah.
Just to catch him off guard.
I had some bland Cheerios.
I had some bland Cheerios. But, I love it. Being from the South, you would understand this. You would relate. I love me some cheesy grits. It's like Hillary when she was on that black radio show and said she kept
about some
hot sauce in her purse.
Yeah.
I hate when they do that. They all do it. Not all of them. But both parties have characters that do this kind of stuff. But, yeah, I guess that's my wrap on MTG. It's good riddance for her. She's not going to go away, though. I promise you. She's getting married to somebody that's on one of the sub-news networks. There's so many of them out there.
Yeah, he's
like News One or something.
Yeah, sometimes he does like and he's the one who called out the Ukrainian president about not wearing a suit.
Was that in the White House?
Yeah, he's like, how come
he's with one of the News Nation or
I don't know which news station,
One America or some stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but all I know is that poor bastard. They're getting married, and that
And maybe he's rethinking it.
Say a prayer for him.
Maybe he's rethinking it because she's not running for Congress. I mean, she still has a family business, construction business, but since she's not in Congress anymore. Maybe he's like, I don't know about this one. I'm not comfortable with this anymore.
Oh God. Yeah, but anyway, so she's gone. So we had the good riddance for her. Again, Maduro got snatched. Waltz is going, and there was another monumental event, something that went away, hadn't got any fanfare because we've got all these other headlines. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting went poof yesterday. It is officially gone. Now, if you love NPR and PBS, good for you. I've watched and been entertained by their programs over the years. Still like some of the masterpiece stuff they do on PBS, but I'll tell you this. If you love them, support them. Like every other entity in the country, they don't have some fundamental right to taxpayer funding. Just find sponsors, go panhandle, do a fundraiser. Y'all sell some donuts, some Krispy Kremes. What do people do? Do a GoFundMe. It doesn't mean the programming has to go away. If it has value, it will survive. But as far as the taxpayers being involved in the sponsorship of any kind of agenda-oriented stuff, we have in fact, I would say we have a First Amendment reason not to do that, because the First Amendment bans censorship or government censorship of speech, which is the same thing as government sponsorship of speech. It's the government determining what should and shouldn't be said. in either way. We have no business doing that. So good. That was a good little event that would have been a big headline talk about story just a few months ago. But the Trump team is going 200 miles an hour all the time. And this is a minor story right now. But I didn't even bring it up yesterday, but there it is. Quick break. Back in a minute more. Your phone calls 2-545-9950. Leland Live Talk 99.5. All right, it's 3:54. Our buddy Richard DeCopp on the line right now. What's up, Richard?
Talking about PBS going out of business yesterday. Back during Christmas, one of the local stations plays Christmas music from early November to Christmas night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to that off and on to listen to y'all. And they had Elmo on a commercial, shilling and trying to get donations for Sesame Street.
Elmo was the pitch man.
Elmo was the pitch man on the radio. I bet I heard it 4 dozen times during the month of December.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, Elmo's popular, and some of their listeners probably think he's real and would like to help him out, to help a little brother out. Is Elmo male?
Well, you could have done a little bit better considering the original Elmo grew up to be a child molester.
That's right. The guy that was the original hand in the puppet was some kind of
Yep.
There's a joke in there.
Yeah, it is. Don't be tickling him.
There sure is, y'all. And another thing, this is being Insurrection Day. You remember all the people, all the congressmen were talking about Trump had spurned an erection when this first happened?
Yeah.
Well, I agree. He's been screwing them ever since. Roll Tide.
There's Richard DeCopp talking about dad jokes. I don't even know what that was, actually. Hey, it's a good time. Let me flip gears on y'all real quick. There's a lot coming at us this afternoon. I'm trying to keep up. Good time to look at your 401k if you got a 401k or you got a portfolio in the markets. It just hit another record today. Dow closing at 49,462. If it stays on this trend, it'll cross 50,000, which is kind of a psychological barrier. I'm not saying this week because there'll inevitably be some profit taking, and people will dip out on this high and it'll drop for a couple of days. A lot of that, we went through some of this yesterday. I was speculating on maybe some early advance retail numbers. We're not going to get the core hard numbers till later in the month, but a lot of it was energy stocks. Because of the freeing of the Venezuelan oil. And again, if you don't want to become an economist and nerd out on GDPs and growth rates and all this stuff, just understand the basics of supply and demand. And it's not more complicated than that. Everything can honestly be boiled back down to that in all economic analysis. We're putting more supply on the market. The demand hasn't changed radically. It always grows to some extent. The one period where it didn't was during the COVID shutdown because you had a shutdown and there was a lot less traffic, a lot less people using, a lot less commerce. So energy dipped down. There's a level where the oil industry in America needs the price to be so they can actually drill. And and that number used to be about $35 a barrel. There are companies now, because of inflation and the dynamics of the economy, believe that they can drill and still make a profit at over $40 a barrel. And that's just business, right? The companies are not going to put the billions that it takes to get oil out of the oceans and out of the ground with all their employees and all the refining, everything that has to go into, again, their profits. As much as the left would like to look at the oil companies' actual raw number profit and pretend like they're ripping somebody off, but their profit margin is reasonable compared to other businesses. They put billions in to get 6% out. And yes, that number is going to be in the billions. Some years it's more, some years it's less. But that's a return to their investors. So everybody wins. If you bought into those companies in the markets, as people have done because of this new equation, you're hopefully going to make money on that investment. It's how capitalism works. And we need it. It's the lifeblood of our economy. We all need the product, and we need it to be affordable for us. Well, as the prospect, because all of the oil markets are futures markets anyway, the prospect of getting the stuff out of the ground and getting it to market now out of Venezuela, which, as many of you know, is heavier. It's called heavy or sour crude. It's harder to refine, but here's some fun stuff for you. On the Gulf Coast of the United States, which would probably be the closest refining operations to Venezuela, straight across the Gulf, we have refineries that are tooled, you would say, for this oil. They're ready to go. If the leases and contracts can be executed quickly, if all that can get negotiated, if the American companies can get their equipment back and back into pumping condition and from the ruins of commies trying to pump oil. This reminds me when we left all that military equipment in Iraq and those idiots tried to fly one of the helicopters. Chavez ran the expertise out of his country, and then they could barely figure out how to make it work. They're floating on oil, and they could barely get it out of the ground. We put that flow back in the world, and all of our enemies, a lot of our enemies, China needs the product. They're going to get cut off. Russia's going to have their price dip. There's a sweet spot in there that's going to change the way the world works. Promise.